Out of the barren Nevada desert, one of the world's most spectacular cities sprung to neon life, Las Vegas, and the Las Vegas Motor Speedway and its half-mile dirt track. Cody Vander won 2 races last year. Would love to thrill the Vegas fans tonight. Nobody won more races last year than Derek Kraus. And Hayley Deakin is ready to build on her Rookie of the Year title. The NASCAR K&N Pro Series West has made its way to Las Vegas Motor Speedway to go dirt track racing in the Star Nursery 100. Ralph Sheheen, Brandon McReynolds, and Heather DeBow with you as we get set to go. Brandon, dirt track racing. I love it with stock car.
I was telling you before the start of this broadcast that I don't know a lot about dirt racing, but I'm excited to see what goes on here tonight. The stands are packed. A lot of people came out here to watch the USAC cars, the World of Outlaws, and obviously the K&N Pro Series West. So I think it's going to be a really exciting night of racing.
You can see the dirt track just about 12 miles off the strip here in Vegas. Point standings. This is the way they wrapped up because this is going to be the first race of 2019.
Yeah, and I think the guy we got to pay attention to is Derek Kraus, that he finished 4th in points series last year. Had a lot of wins last year, but just couldn't keep the trains on the track, so to speak. Had a lot of bad luck, so it'll be interesting to see how he kicks off his season here at the dirt track.
Speaking of kicking it off, let's kick off some slide jobs. The USAC sprint cars opened up the show, and you can see the race leader there, Charles Davis Jr., catching the white tire. But keep an eye on the black car. That's Jake Swanson, splitting a pair, slide job through 3, and he's going to power off of 4 to a last lap victory here in the USAC Western Sprint Cars. Now it's the World of Outlaws' turn. That's Darren Pittman in the Roth Motorsports 83, the blue and white car. But the champ, Donnie Schatzer, on the outside, pins Pittman and takes the win. Now down trackside to Heather DeBow.
Thanks, Ralph. When it comes to dirt track racing, track prep is key, and teams have been working all week to get this racing surface ready for tonight's event. They also had a little help from Mother Nature with the recent snow and rain here in Las Vegas. Now, due to the colder temperatures, the track is holding the moisture a lot better than it did back in September. And also, those World of Outlaws racers just finished their feature event, and they laid rubber from the bottom all the way to the top of the track. So we should see more than one groove to race on for these K&N West drivers here in their second start at the Las Vegas dirt track. Guys?
All right, Heather, thank you. Yeah, the pictures of the snow in Vegas was amazing. And look, prepping a dirt track for sprint car racing is one thing. For stock cars, a whole nother deal. But the stock cars are adapting well, and on the pole is Austin Reed.
It was a huge effort by everyone on our team, and we put a lot of work in the offseason into this. So same car we ran last year here, just basically rebuilt it from the ground up at Bonsus Racing. And those guys worked, crazy to get this thing done in time, ship it out here. So, I can't thank them enough. All the sponsors, my dad, Lucas Oil, Fluidine, all those guys, kind of everyone pitched in to make sure we got here, and hopefully we can put on a good show.
Here's a look at the race that we've got tonight. Those turns just banked 10 degrees, pretty flat, but we're going to go 50 miles or 100 laps.
Yeah, Ralph, like Heather was talking about, I think we're going to see a lot of side-by-side racing. Not a lot of banking, as you mentioned, so it'll be interesting to see how these drivers take care of their tires, but we do have a break on our lap 50 to where they can come down and change those.
Let's take a look at who's going to be racing here tonight. Derek Kraus on the front row with Austin Reed, and Jagger Jones, grandson of the great Parnelli Jones.
Yeah, we see Joey Tanner back there for Jefferson Pitts Racing, starting row 8 on the inside. He has a lot of dirt experience. I know talking to him in the garage here, he's really excited to get going.
Yeah, Hayley Deakin, not the only female driver in the field. You see Brittany Zamora entered as well. Well, here we go. Ready to come to the green flag here in Vegas. And the K&N Pro Series West Championship for 2019 is underway. Picking their way through the first 2 turns, and the top 2 still side by side and banging doors as we go into 3.
16 to Derek Kraus on the outside, running second. He was trying to pinch Austin Reed in the 14 down. Austin really shoving him up the racetrack to gain the lead here down into turn 1.
Well, you see everybody just trying to find the feel for the surface as they enter the corner and coming off. Little tentative early on here, it looks like, Brandon.
Absolutely. There we see Jagger Jones in the 60s working that middle groove, but Matt Levine working the bottom really hard, trying to run the 6 to Jagger up off of turn 4.
Jagger, as we said, the grandson of arguably one of the world's greatest race car drivers ever, Parnelli Jones. His uncle, a tremendous dirt track racer in his own right, Paige Jones, spectacular behind the wheel of a midget. His dad, P.J. Jones, great in all forms of racing. So Jagger, boy, he's got the bloodlines for sure.
Yeah, a lot of racing roots and a lot of racing history there, Ralph, and I think we're going to see him have a really strong year. He won the championship in Kern County last year in the late model division, and he's working with Bill Sedgwick, who won the championship with Derek Thorne in that same car last year.
Here comes Cody Vander Waal, sparking up a little bit, coming off that right front, and he's got Todd Souza just in front of him. What could those sparks have been from, Brandon?
Yeah, it could be the cross member just bottoming out a little bit on the racetrack. You know, it could be about anything, but it looks like these guys have got the handling on their cars down and got the whole entire car a lot lower than last year that we saw in this race.
Early stages here at the Star Nursery 100 as the field still just finding their way around the racetrack. K&N Pro Series Racing and NBCSN brought to you by K&N High Flow Air Filters and Air Intake Systems, because everyone loves that fast car smell. Back with the K&N Pro Series West season opener here in Las Vegas at the dirt track, the Star Nursery 100 in the early stages. Our race leader, the man who started the night on the pole, Austin Reed, but he slips wide in 2, and here comes the 16 of Derek Kraus and a new leader here in Vegas.
Austin Reed was the only one really running the middle out of the top 5 cars, so you could see him getting really loose in the center of the corner. Derek Kraus able to capitalize on that and take the lead.
Levine moves into second in the 10, and now look at Jagger Jones in the 6, trying to push his way around on the bottom, but not going to be able to get there just yet. I thought it was going to open it up enough, but Reed was able to pinch it back down and close it off.
You can still see Reed fighting that steering wheel. He's got those white gloves on, so we're able to see his hands moving around a lot. He's really working that wheel back and forth. Then there's Jagger just working the bottom nice and smooth, almost driving it like we're at Tucson or one of the asphalt tracks that we go to.
And you can see the front wheel is never turning to the right, which means he's not fighting the condition. As you can see, the 14, the front wheels are.
Yeah, he's definitely working that wheel really hard. I'm sure Austin Reed's going to be explaining to his crew that he needs a little bit of a tune-up whenever we get to the break. And I expect that what we're going to see, Ralph, is all these guys come down pit road, clean the grill, clean up the window. That way you can see out of the front, and then change those tires, because you might as well, if you have that break, you might as well put 4 new tires on.
Well, and everybody hanging on the bottom as Souza continues to fight with the 43 of Vander Waal here. Nobody has moved up to the cushion of the racetrack. There you see it high up along the wall. Everybody instead staying way down on the bottom, tucked right along those big white tires protecting the inside.
And I think what's happened here, Ralph, talking to some of these guys in the garage area, is you can only get to about quarter or half throttle down the straightaway. So when you decided to move up and run the outside wall, you're just taking a longer distance, and you're still not able to get that throttle down. I think that's why we're seeing these guys just run right up against the tires on the bottom. But who knows, we could see a bump and run later, because ultimately, if you're all running the same groove, that's what you got to do to get someone out of the way.
The reason why you would go upstairs to that cushion is if you feel like you can carry the momentum around the outside greater than running the tighter line on the bottom. And apparently nobody feeling comfortable with that idea right now. But I will say that the 16, by our race leader, Derek Kraus, he's putting in some good laps, and he's got a couple of car lengths over second place.
Yeah, John Camarelli, the crew chief on that 16, he's got that car hooked up really well for Bill McAnally Racing. Derek's able to take a nice big arc and exit low, which I think is where his speed's coming from.
Inside the top 10, about the first 8 cars all stuck together here. Nobody really getting too far away from another.
Todd Souza in the 13 starting to put a little pressure on our pole sitter of Austin Reed into turn 3, just working a little bit lower. Once again, it seems like Austin's really struggling with the handling on that car.
He's got that Central Coast Cabinets Toyota running pretty good early on here in the race. For more on Souza, here's Heather.
Well, guys, if you remember last year, Todd Souza was actually involved in that lap 1 wreck, so they were definitely not able to get the finish that he felt he could get. Tonight, he said it's going to be all about survival and staying clean. Now, he does have dirt track experience, but it's been about 25 years since he used to race those dirt modifieds on the clay tracks back in California. So far, he's looking pretty strong tonight, and he's hoping to salvage a strong top 5 finish.
Well, you never forget those laps on the dirt, right?
That's right. And Todd Souza, I know he came here last year and did the tire test, so he has a lot of experience around this racetrack. Looking really smooth. Cody Vander starting to close in on him a little bit in the 43.
And every dirt track has its own characteristics based on the region you're racing in, what that dirt will do as you race on it over the course of a long night. And this desert-style dirt, it can definitely be different than what you would find at, say, a Knoxville or an Eldora. Things will get a little drier here, a little bit sandier.
Absolutely, Ralph. And I definitely think the track prep has been a lot better this season than it was at the end of last year. Last year was really hard for these drivers to see. They had to come out and water in the middle of the race.
Souza looking to make a move to the inside, but the caution coming out just as he was setting up Reed. Well, that's frustrating as the 72 gets stuck up on the inside. Kenny Bombera, the driver out of Texas. Looks like he just missed his line a little bit, got hung up on the inside, and now he's going again. Doesn't look like there's any damage to the race car. He should be able to tag back into the field. Oh, I take that back. We only saw the other side. Significant damage to the doors here on the right. Well, back in the day, the Winston West Series ran over at the big track, and this was 1998, and the driver behind the Spear 75, NASCAR Cup Series champion Kevin Harvick, his one and only season chasing the Winston West points, and he did it, taking the title.
I'm sure we could see a lot of that this weekend here out in Las Vegas over at the Cup track with Kevin Harvick. Probably has a really good shot at going back to victory lane.
Pace truck with the lights out. We should be back underway here soon.
There we see Derek Kraus going to lead the field back to green here. Be interesting to see if he can get those rear tires hooked up. A lot of people have really struggled with the wheel spin, especially on this dirt surface.
Field bunching up, looking for the green. Kraus slowing him down. You can see a few cars moving around, tail happy, as they struggle to get the grip they need. And Jones is going to take advantage of problems for our second place car, Levine, as Jones now moves into second.
Yeah, it looked like Matt Levine just couldn't get those rear tires hooked up, Ralph. We were just talking about it, just struggling getting up through the gears. He's going to have to fight hard to get back down to the bottom, which has been the preferred groove all night long.
There's Souza in that 13, with Levine going backwards in the 10.
Restarts have been huge tonight. We just haven't seen a ton of green flag passing, so it's so important to get that initial launch, get down to the bottom.
Oh, look at Huddleston.
As soon as I say that, they start mixing it up, Ralph. The 43, Vander Waal, he's starting to make some moves on the bottom.
And Hayley Deakin making some good moves coming through in the 19. Those restarts, if you can get the bite you're looking for out of those rear tires as the caution comes out again, this time it's going to be Tim Spurgeon having issues with the 86. You can see the front end of the car, the driver out of Danville, California. Up around the Bay Area, serious damage there to the 86. Is he going to get in the big white tire? Yep. That'll tear up a race car.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of contact down in turn 3, gets spun around, and probably has quite a bit of radiator damage on the front end of that 86 car. Tough break for Tim. Running pretty solid there towards the start of the race.
He exits off at turn number 1. That's where the pits are, outside of 1 and 2 here. And we'll be right back for more racing after this.
Jagger Jones. I'm 16 years old. I'm the driver of the XYO number 6 for Sunrise Ford Racing. Well, my dad and grandpa both have raced for many decades, so I kind of followed their footsteps. I started racing go-karts when I was about 9 years old, and then about 2 years ago I got into late models, won the championship last year at Kern County Raceway, which is pretty cool. One really cool experience I've had was I was able to go drive for Dale Jr. in his late model, and I won my very first race at Myrtle Beach Speedway. I'm hoping this year to win the Rookie of the Year, and also just really want to go out and win some races this year. I think if I could get 2 or 3 wins, that would be a great season. I'm Jagger Jones, and that was your next-gen profile.
Very talented young man, Jagger Jones. That's him on the outside in the blue and orange Sunrise Ford team number 6. Of course, Jagger, part of one of America's great racing families, right up there. The Andretti's, the Unsers, the Pettys, the Earnhardts, and now Jagger Jones looking to extend the tradition for the Jones racing family. Boy, he's going to be one to keep an eye on. Here we go. Green flag, ready to go.
Another really smooth start for Derek Kraus in the 16 Napa car, able to get away from the field by a couple car lengths.
Boy, and that is huge. When you can do that on these restarts and give yourself that kind of gap that fast, that is a big advantage. And one he had last year, too, if you remember. He led a race-high 31 laps in this event, and then a late race crash while he was running second. Pretty much ruined it. Put a sour taste in his mouth. But look, he's maybe going to see himself standing in victory lane here tonight the way he's getting these restarts.
Yeah, he's off to a really good start. Looks like that 16 car's handling well, but he can't look up now because you talked about it earlier, Ralph. Hayley Deakin in the 19, she's starting to push forward through the field and get a little track position as we lead into that lap 50, where we're going to see a break.
She's got Austin Reed just in front of her. Hayley's in the black 19. There's a big monster claw on the hood.
And watching her and her teammate, Derek Kraus in the 16, they're able to just run so much lower than anyone else with those Bill McAnally racing cars.
That's a huge advantage. They are really tucked tight on that bottom line, and that seems to be where all the grip is. And look at Vander Waal fighting in the 43. A little bit of a bump, and he slides up, and Hayley goes right back by. And we head downstairs now to Heather once again.
Hayley Deakin's crew chief, Kevin Reed, told me earlier today that they have to take their best guess on the setup because of the World of Outlaws being here. But he did say that they'll just stick to their baseline and then they can make changes during the break because they'll have more knowledge about what the track is going to do because they've already ran 50 laps on it. Now, Hayley Deakin, her mentality coming into this race is to go big or go home. She was really fast out here last September, and she said that without Sheldon Creed and Christopher Bell being in the race, she feels she could be the one to get the win tonight. She said anything less than that would be a failure to her.
Well, she's marching towards the front, and here she comes on Levine. You can see her correcting those front wheels as Levine started to move down to that bottom groove that she's been hanging there in. She's got a fast race car tonight.
She does, and like you said, Ralph, she's working that car pretty hard back and forth on the steering wheel, but she's able to just corner so much lower than the 10 of Matt Levine exiting turn 4. Really starting to put the pressure on him.
There's Joey Tanner in the black 7, the Eastside paving back machine, making his debut in this series, running solid inside the top 10. Looks like there's a little bit of damage to the nose of Hayley Deakin's number 19. You see it right on the grill there, Brandon?
Yeah, I know at one point Austin Reed was really pinching her down off of turn 4, and she had a little bit of slight contact with the tire, so that might have something to do with it.
Heather, we're having a lot of fun watching up here. Who are you keeping an eye on tonight?
Scottsdale, Arizona's own Jagger Jones has been very impressive early on in this race. He told me earlier today, though, that not only is this his first start in a K&N West car, but he has zero experience on the dirt when it comes to oval racing. But one thing he does have on his side is that he has veteran driver Ryan Partridge up in the spotter stand coaching him along throughout this event. Now, he told him prior to that restart to make sure he gets clean, crisp starts. So that means don't miss a shift, don't spin your tires, and he wanted him to try to keep up with the 16 as best as he could. So far, so good, and he's still holding on to that second position.
Yeah, the Grandpa Parnelli was just dominant force on the dirt tracks back in his day, so he's got plenty of folks he can get some insight from. And he's closed up on Kraus, and looks like he's actually got a better line through the bottom of the racetrack right now as we approach the halfway point here.
Yeah, Jagger really started putting the pressure on Derek Kraus in the 16, able to arc that car down in there and really exit low. One of the only cars other than the BMR stable that's been able to hang tough and just really corner around the bottom that well. So pretty impressive out of that 6 car so far.
You see them put Takuma Koga a lap down in the 77. He got out of the way. And you can just see Kraus has got those wheels turned a little bit, coming off the corners, finding a push, whereas the 6 driving off a little bit straighter.
Yeah, for sure. Really impressive, though, with Jagger Jones. I mean, just watching how smooth he is. Doesn't look like he's getting very rattled, just being smooth on the throttle. And that's the hardest thing to do as a rookie when you come and drive these heavy stock cars, I'm sure, especially on dirt, is just not getting too excited and just roasting those rear tires and jumping on the gas too hard.
All about patience tonight, isn't it?
Absolutely. And then we see the wily old veteran of Todd Susan, 13, starting to work his way in on the 2 leaders here.
Souza's done a great job of closing in, but everybody knows the break is coming. Now Jones looking outside. Nobody has ventured up there to get around. Is that going to work to his advantage, or is he going to open the door for Souza?
And I think for this situation, Ralph, that's not a bad move. You got 3 cars working the 1, 2, 3 right there. So even if he loses that spot by trying the middle, he's just going to be back on the bottom after the break anyway. So that's a pretty good move, just trying that middle. Jagger's trying to see if he can get around the leader of the 16. And no harm, no foul. He's able to settle back into second.
And closing in rapidly, here comes Hayley Deakin. We're going to have a 4-car battle for the lead here as we approach the halfway break.
Yeah, it seems like the 16 to Derek Kraus, he fired off this race with a lot of speed, but starting to hold up the top 5 here a little bit.
Souza bobbled. Haley's all over the backside of the 13 as we continue to watch the fight for the lead.
Yeah, she took a huge arc into turn 3, just trying to get that low exit off of 4, but slips up just a little bit.
Yeah, boy, Kraus really struggling off of 4. And Jones really starting to put the pressure on the inside. Kraus knows he has to protect that bottom. He just can't keep that number 16 Napa Auto Parts car down on the bottom.
The best thing Jagger can do right now is just keep putting the pressure of the 16. Going to give him the bumper a little bit. He knows that he has to get this lead before the break at lap 50. That way he can really set the tempo, especially with Hayley Deakin in the 19 car charging through the field.
She might be the fastest race car out on the track right now. And also closing in is Vander Waal in the 43. So now it's a 5-car battle, and here comes Hayley going for 3rd. She's inside of Souza and cleanly making the pass. Vander Waal's going to shove the 43 through as well.
Yeah, Todd Souza, he got checked up off of turn 2 and tried to get down right below Hayley Deakin, the 19 car, but Cody Vander Waal was having none of it, trying to keep that hole filled up. That way he can get the 4th position.
Kraus is holding up the cars behind him. They just can't find a way by yet.
I'm sure Bill Sedgwick, the crew chief of the 6, is trying to keep Jagger just calm down, trying to get that position, but at the same time, you don't want to do anything that might hurt you later in the race.
Well, don't look in your rearview mirror, because here comes that monster claw with Hayley Deakin behind the wheel. She is closing quickly, and we are at the lap 50 mark, so we should be seeing that break.
Jagger tried to take one last shot at the 16 to Derek Kraus, but it actually helped Derek in the 16 get away from him a little bit of breathing room now.
Kraus with 6 career K&N Pro Series victories, leading here as there's more lap traffic in front of him, and somewhere at or around lap 50 we should be seeing this break.
I'm sure Derek's hoping that the 84 Rich Long gets out of his way, because this field, they're stacked up. The 6 is right there with them.
There it is. And Kraus can breathe a big sigh of relief. Boy, they were all bunched up there.
Yeah, Derek's car looked like it was just starting to get a little tight as that run went. It was just driving straighter and straighter, just watching that car corner around this racetrack, and everyone else had a little bit more pitch in their car.
So the competition comes out on lap 52 of the scheduled 100 here in Vegas.
All these crew chiefs are talking to their young drivers, just trying to get as much information out of them that they can. But I'm sure the biggest complaint is, hey, man, wipe my windshield a little bit just so I can see out of this thing, especially with so many laps left in the race.
I got to think Jagger's pretty happy with his. I would think Hayley Deakin's pretty happy with hers. Derek Kraus needs some help on a long-distance green flag run.
Yeah, you're right, Ralph. And that's going to be the toughest balance, is just making sure you keep your communication in check. That way you don't jump the fence on your adjustments.
Well, here comes Jagger to the attention of his Sunrise Ford crew. We'll let them make the adjustments, and we'll be right back. NASCAR's K&N Pro Series West kicking off the 2019 season on the dirt here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway at the dirt track. The half mile, the fans making their way in, expecting an exciting show. Austin Reed in the 14 started the race on the pole. Little slip in 1 and 2, and Derek Kraus went by. And the 16 has led everything since then. Spurgeon got into the big tires on the inside, torqued the front of his race car, but Derek Kraus has been the guy at the front, leading 46 on the 55 laps completed so far tonight.
We haven't seen a ton of side-by-side racing, but definitely that field was starting to get stacked up on the bottom. So we keep talking about it. Might see that bump and run later on.
Green flag waves, and we're back underway. Kraus has been so good on his starts and restarts tonight, and he is once again pulling the gap between him and the 6 of Jones. Deegan slots into 3rd. Vander Waal in the 43 is in 4th. Souza 5th in the 13.
And Jagger did such a great job on that restart. He made sure not to overdrive turns 1. That way he could get that 6 car pointed, get a good launch off of turn 2, and get back down in line in front of Hayley Deakin.
Well, one driver who's done a really good job, we haven't talked about him too much, is Cody Vander Waal. Heather, he's right in the thick of things in 4th.
Well, Cody told me earlier he feels really good about his car, and he has a good reason to. He is running the same car that Sheldon Creed won this race in last year. He also said he is really excited to have the opportunity to drive for Levine Racing. He said it's a big weight off of his shoulders. Now he can just focus on driving and go and get the finishes that he feels he has deserved, and he's worked really hard to be in the position that he's in.
He's doing a great job sitting there in well, looks like a bit of a bump maybe brewing back there coming off of 4, as we saw the 17 dealing with that. And whoa, look at the 9 getting sideways. Trevor Huddleston, the 17 is Tony Toast. And then the 14 of Austin Reed goes around, as Huddleston does as well, bringing out the caution.
Yeah, Trevor Huddleston in the 9, he got hemmed up a little bit down in turns 3 and 4, got up in that middle groove. You talked about that bump right there. It's like, it looked like it threw that car to the outside a little bit, and then contact was made getting down into turn 1.
Here's a look at it again as they went down into 1. Oh, Reed just went in deep.
Yeah, he did. And it looked like the 9 of Trevor Huddleston was really fighting for the bottom, knowing that that's the preferred groove. But Austin Reed just trying to keep his nose in there and take that position from Trevor Huddleston. Just one of those racing deals. Got in the back of him, around they both went.
Well, make you feel a little bit old here, Brandon. Our race leader, Kraus, is 17 years old. The driver in 2nd place, Jones, is 16, and Hayley Deakin, she's 17.
I don't feel old at all, Ralph.
We'll be right back. Getting ready to go back to green here at the Star Nursery 100. Season opener for the K&N Pro Series West, and they're doing it for the 2nd time on the dirt here in Las Vegas. Really slow coming off of 4 with these restarts. Ooh, Kraus slipped a little bit. Jones trying to gain some ground.
It's like the 16 of Derek Kraus brought the field down way slower than what he had been, and almost hurt him. The 6 of Jagger Jones able to get down in front of Derek Kraus.
Vander Waal working the outside in the 43. There's that bump again. It's just a lane up off of 3 and 4.
That restart kind of reminded me of the race that I was able to win at New Hampshire last year, racing against Derek Kraus. He brought us all down really, really slow, and it caused him to have a lot of wheel spin, and we were able to get around him. That looked just like what Jagger Jones in the 6 car did, so he took advantage of that opportunity, that could wind up being the race.
Well, you learn the tendencies of that guy when he's doing the restarts, and Kraus has done it the same way every time. He hasn't mixed it up, and that's something you have to do. Don't let him see you get into a rhythm with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that the K&N drivers have done such a good job of, is really studying their competition, studying these racetracks. I know Hayley Deakin there in the 19, she is definitely a student of the sport, and it's paying off for her.
Wow, Souza was getting pretty aggressive on the inside of Vander Waal's 43. Bumped him a couple times and ends up losing his spot instead of gaining one. Then he gets it back.
And if we go green right here, Ralph, until the end, I'm sure Hayley Deakin's just hoping and praying that her teammate at the 16 gets out of her way, because I think if she can clear the 16 to Derek Kraus, she'll have a really good shot with that 19 car of running down her leader.
She's going to have to do it soon, because Kraus is definitely holding her back. He gets a little wide here. She comes inside. Hayley Deakin making the move in the 19.
And she did such a good job into turn 1. She didn't overdrive that car and get up into the 16 to Derek Kraus. She just hooked the bottom, and there she is. There she's able to pull in front of them down in turns 3 and 4.
And whatever damage she had to the front of the 19, they've been able to clear off. And now Souza's going to come inside here on Kraus. Kraus is really fighting that Napa 16.
Yeah, you can see his car. We saw it earlier in the race. It's just driving a lot straighter than some of these other cars, so it gets hung up so much in the middle, and they just keep putting the bumper to him and keeping him on the outside.
He's going to get everybody going by him. Meanwhile, Jones driving away. But how about Joey Tanner, Heather?
Well, guys, Joey Tanner is probably the driver in the field tonight with the most dirt track experience. He is a dirt late model driver from the Northwest. He has 3 championships and that division, and he is certainly putting his skills to use in this race tonight. He started 15th, and he has made his way up to the 6th position right now. And Jeff Jefferson told him after that break, he said, no more saving, drive it as hard as you can. And Joey said, that's what I like to hear. So keep an eye on that 7 to continue making his way to the front.
Joey Tanner, one of the bright young stars on this tour. In his first race, it'll be fun to keep an eye on him this year.
And that team, Jefferson Pitts Racing, I mean, we've talked about it a lot. They have the experience. They've won championships with Greg Pursley, had some really good drivers like Noah Gregson, and so they know how to get to victory lane, and they have the talent now behind that car to come out here and have a strong run.
Look at Jagger Jones. He has got a half a straightaway lead right now on Hayley Deakin. Boy, and there's only about 20 laps to go.
Yeah, that's that fine line right here. I'm sure as a rookie driver, he's getting a little nervous in there, but if he can just stay calm, keep hitting his marks, keep doing what got him to this point in the race, then he'll have this one in the bag unless we get a late race caution.
All right, you can see Hayley driving deeper into the corner. She went much deeper into 1 and 2 that time, slid up a little bit, but look at her just pull away from Souza. She is definitely getting the bite off the corner.
Yeah, she's really trying to arc that car in and really get a low exit. But we'll see right here if she comes back into turns 1 and 2, if she's going to try something different or if she's going to get back down on the bottom like she has been all night long.
Going for the bottom.
Yeah, I think that big arc just didn't help her, Ralph. Like Todd Souza almost closed that hole behind her in the 13 car. So,
well, here comes Tanner, too. Look at the driver in the 7 that Heather was just talking about, really having a good run here tonight in his debut in the series.
He is. He's going to wash Cody Vander Waal in the 43 up a little bit and almost clipped that tire off of turn 4, but huge launch for the 7, Joey Tanner, off of turn 4.
Oh, let's see if he can. Oh, Souza bumps up on the inside of the berm to the bottom of the racetrack. And Tanner, oh, he just couldn't get the nose in there.
Yeah, heads up move for Tanner. I think he knew that the 13 of Todd Souza was going to close the door, but that allows Cody Vander Waal to close back in on him.
Yeah, he's just going to have to force by. He's almost up to the door. Here he comes. Now he'll clear him.
I tell you what, Ralph, Jeff Jefferson and Jerry Pitts, they have that 7 car hooked up as Cody Vander Waal making some contact with Todd Souza.
Vander Waal, the 18-year-old out of Colorado. He'll get by Souza as well in the 43.
And watch this 7 car exit off of turn 4. He exits almost lower than anyone right there by that white tire. Huge forward drive. It's almost like he's trying to grab that fresh mud down on the bottom to hook up that left rear tire.
As we've seen, you want to get right down along those big white tractor tires, but truck tires, but you sure don't want to hit them. Meanwhile, there's Deegan. She is pulled away from the 7 car. She's gotten away from Tanner, but not closing in fast enough just yet on our race leader. Can Jagger Jones get his first win? Stay with us to find out. Nursery 100. Jagger Jones has been leading the final fourth of this race. Hayley Deakin right there in the number 19, trying to close in. That's a lap car just in front of her there, and then it's Jones out in the distance. You can see just 8 laps to go. You know, Hayley Deakin, prior to coming here to Vegas, spent some time over in Southern California driving a non-wing sprint car for the first time. And she was putting in some good laps, learning all about backing in one of those powerful sprint cars. We'll see how she can do behind the wheel of this much heavier NASCAR stock car tonight. Of course, that Deegan family, boy, they'll race just about anything.
They do. Following Hayley Deakin on Instagram and social media, it's like every single week you see her in a different type of vehicle. I think that's one of the things that Bill McAnally and Toyota has done such a great job with her, is not rushing her through the series like we've seen with some other guys and girls. And I think they have a plan, and they're going to stick to it. I heard the other day that she's probably going to run, I think, 6 ARCA races for Venturini Motorsports. So I think that's a great opportunity for her, and just she keeps learning, and if she can keep winning, she's going to be right there in Cup before long.
Of course, her dad, Brian, the man who began the whole Metal Militia brand and freestyle motocross, and then off into off-road racing with the trucks and all that. And that's one of the things that Hayley did a lot of racing on the dirt. They're kind of the new age of American racing families. And then our race leader here in the 6, Jagger Jones, more of the old school American racing family with the Parnelli Jones, his grandfather, the winner of the Indy 500 back in 1963. His uncle Page, a great dirt track racer in his own right. And, of course, his father, PJ, who was so good in just about everything. And now look at Hayley. She gained a tremendous amount of time in just a lap or two, but there's less than 5 to go, Brandon.
Yeah, that lap car of the 64 really held up Jagger in turns 3 and 4. He almost had to come to a stop, allowing Hayley Deakin to close in. I'm sure Jagger's hoping and telling his spotter to get all these lap cars out of the way. I don't know why they're not moving up and running more in the middle.
Jagger Jones in the orange and blue number 6 in his rookie season in K&N Pro Series West. Hayley Deakin in the black 19, last year's Rookie of the Year. And look at how deep she's able to drive into 3.
Yeah, Jagger really taking it easy, trying to get down in the corner, and I'm sure he keeps second-guessing. Man, that last lap car cut me off. What's going to happen with this next one? So Hayley Deakin able to take advantage of her situation running in second, which is something we don't see for the leader that often. These lap cars getting in the way as much as they have been.
You can tell she is much more aggressive on the throttle. Look how deep she drives into the corner again, and she was really powering up off of 2. And we heard her say to Heather DeBow, if she doesn't win, it would be a disaster here tonight. She's going to have a shot at it. Lap 99, we've got 2 to go, and look at all the lappers in front of them.
Yeah, that's got to be a really tough feeling for Jagger Jones, but definitely the 19 of Hayley Deakin, her car is a lot better. There we see her again drive down into turn 3, close up that distance. I'm sure if she can just get there, she'll put the bumper to Jagger in the 6.
Well, let's see. Here's the white flag. What does he do with the lap traffic? Can he use it to his advantage? No. He gets hung up by the 52. Here comes Hayley. Inside. Hayley Deakin shoving her way past the 6. We've got a new leader here in Vegas.
I can't believe it, Ralph. That lap car in the 72 just cut Jagger off. Let's see. He's going to give her the bumper.
He got right back into her. She gets a little wide. Gathers it back up. Powering off of 4, and Hayley Deakin will win the season opener in Vegas.
What a finish, Ralph. That was unbelievable. So much going on. Hayley Deakin got there, and she took advantage of it. Did nothing wrong. Gave the bumper and the door a little bit to Jagger Jones, but able to pull it off.
Jagger Jones could not get around Kenny Bombera in the 72. And Deegan took full advantage of it. She is buried in the throttle and just hammers by.
It comes down to that point in the race, and that's just what you got to do. I just can't get over these lap cars, though, Ralph. I mean, when the leaders are coming, you got to get out of the way. That's got to be just a miscommunication for the 72 and his team.
No doubt about it. Hayley Deakin, though, she's a winner here in Vegas. K&N Pro Series Racing and NBCSN is brought to you by K&N High Flow Air Filters and Air Intake Systems, because everyone loves that fast car smell. And the celebration is underway here in the Victory Lane area for Hayley Deakin. You can see the strip off in the distance, and I'm sure this party's going to head down there. Not for Jagger Jones, though. Oh, the devastation of knowing you were one lap away from victory.
Yeah, really tough break for Jagger Jones, but I know one girl that's going to be really excited, and that's Hayley Deakin in the 19.
I see her dad down there in the black beanie. Let's hear from Heather. Here comes Hayley.
And they don't call her the Dirt Princess for nothing. Hayley Deakin gets her second career win here at the dirt track in Las Vegas. Getting some congratulations there from her dad, Brian. Hayley, today you worked really hard for this one. It didn't come easy to you. You had some adversity to overcome in practice and things like that. Talk about how you were able to capture your second win.
I think everyone counted us out after those heat races, and we weren't done yet. I knew we had a lot of work to do, a lot of stuff to learn, and I wasn't going down second again. I was done getting second. I was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get this win.
You did have to track down the leader there. How were you able to do that?
Oh, man, I was nervous. I was like, I really hope there's a caution. I don't know if I'm able to catch him. I was like, there's so much going on. There's so many lappers, and I just knew. I was like, for some reason, back in the back of my mind, like 20 laps ago, I was like, watch this come down to the last lap again. I was like, I'm just going to go for it.
Coming into this race, you said you wouldn't be happy with anything but a win. How does it feel to call your shot?
Man, I don't want to be the person to be like cocky and stuff. We got it done. My team worked so hard. Everyone worked so hard in the whole BMR pitch just to make this all happen, make this car set up so good, and just doing our homework. And we got it done. Wow!
Congratulations.
There's team owner Bill McAnally back there. There's their dad, Brian. And here's a look at the results. And Jagger Jones, I know he's going to be frustrated with second, but he did a great job. And how about Joey Tanner in his debut in the series on the podium in third?
Yeah, huge for Jefferson Pitts Racing to come out here on a part-time schedule and run third the first race kicking off the year. I would think that they'd get some sponsorship to be able to move forward.
Heather?
So close for Jagger Jones, pulls off the second place, but you led that race. At one point, you had a straightaway of a lead in your debut. Talk about what happened there with the lap car.
Yeah, so it was just an unfortunate deal. I haven't talked to the lap car, but I guess he just must have not known I was inside. I was inside of him, and he just kept coming down. And but when I hit him, it just pushed me towards the tire barriers, and I had to try to avoid them, and it slid me up the track and just gave Hayley a clean lane right on the inside groove, which is the fast lane. So she just got around me there with the lap car cutting me off. So it was just unfortunate, but it just is what it is sometimes.
What are your biggest takeaways? You had a great race until that point. So what did you learn in your first race here in the K&N West Series?
Yeah, these races are a lot longer than I'm used to, especially the dirt race, 100 laps. We were really good until I'd say about 10 to go. So just got to work on those final closing laps and maybe set the car up a little better towards the very end. And we'll go work on them next time in Irwindale.
I have to say, he handled that very well.
He did. Shows a lot of maturity. Jagger Jones, he's going to be forced to be reckoned with for the rest of the season. So Hayley Deakin, Derek Krause, they can't get comfortable.
And Hayley Deakin becomes the first woman to lead a Touring Series points for NASCAR, Heather.
Finishing third tonight is Joey Tanner. Joey, you had to put in some work to get to that position. You started 15th, made your way to the front, but you have some dirt experience. How'd you like running this K&N West race?
Oh, it was a blast. Obviously we didn't get the ideal starting position. We had a little trouble in our heat race, but man, it's a ball. This track is tough. These cars are heavy. You put the heavy cars on a slick racetrack that's dirt that they're not used to running on. It makes for a wild race, and we had a good night. I mean, we knew we had a good car all weekend. Obviously, we weren't the fastest at practice on single lap times, but the consistency was there, and we knew we'd have a good car to stay out of the problems, and it was a long race, and we were able to do that. And I had to work for every single one of them. There was no gimme, so I'm thrilled with the third place finish. It was a great race. I hope the fans loved it.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, he should be very happy with that. Hey, the next race is another season opener, the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, Performance Plus 150 from the Myrtle Beach Speedway. You'll see it Thursday, March 21st, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on NBCSN. Well, the lights still glistening off in the distance down on the strip. But, boy, it was a fun race here on the dirt track in Vegas, Brandon.
It was, Ralph. We saw a little bit of everything. We saw Derek Kraus really dominate this race in the first half, and then Hayley Deakin, his teammate in the 19, come on strong later on. But another shout-out to Jagger Jones. I think both of us were super impressed with how he raced and how he handled it himself after getting held up by a lap car.
That's for sure. For Heather DeVoe and Brandon McReynolds, I'm Ralph Sheehy. So long from Vegas. Congratulations, Hayley Deakin.